We're going to do a tutorial on how to set up a customer for Security Equity Partners. When you first log in, you come to the Customers tab, and then you're going to click Add New to put a new customer into the system. Now let's put in the customer information. I'll use everybody's favorite TV character, Walter White. After entering all customer information, you will need to select the funding source so it knows who to run the credit through. Security Equity Partners. Now you'll notice that a Run Credit button appears. That means if I click Run Credit right now, it will run the credit in Security Equity Partners system, and it will return to me the customer number. So I'm going to click it, and you'll see that it put in the customer ID of 0012. So it's run the customer credit, and we're ready to go now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Finish. Well, first, one thing I want to tell you, if the customer has lived here more than 1 year, then you don't have to put this information in. But if they have not been there more than a year, then you'll need to put in the previous address, city, state, and zip before running the credit. But since this isn't even a real customer, it's okay. So I click Finish, and you'll notice that it created the customer account and put all these tabs up along the top here, and it forwarded me to the customer account. So now I'm in Walter White's account. Let's say I want to see the account status. That means I can see exactly where we're at with this job on funding. It looks like pending proof of home ownership. It was approved, but it's pending proof of home ownership. So you can see if it's funded, if it's not funded, why it hasn't funded, what status it's in. It'll give you all that information. Next, I can go ahead and save the information that I've put on here, or I can click Save and Next. Save and Next saves the information on the page and forwards me to the next page. Now that I'm on the next page, I can go ahead and select the sales rep. Let's say that this one was Clayton Bigsby. And I can estimate install duration time. Let's say that I think this is going to take 2 hours. Now I'm going to check the schedules to see who's available for 2 hours. Let's say I want to do the install at 4 o'clock. Well, it looks like Rick James is busy until 4 o'clock, and he'll be okay until 6 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and assign this to Rick James. He's busy right before and right after this install, but he is available then. So if I double click, then it assigned it to Rick James at 4 o'clock p.m. today. Now, I've already put the funding source as being Security Equity Partners, but now I'm going to put who the central station is. They use lots of different central stations. Let's say that for this one, it is Legacy Security. So I put Legacy Security. I'm going to tell it the contract length. Let's say this was a 60-month contract. Install fee. Let's say that we charge the customer a $99.99 install fee. And let's say that I selected the protection plan. That's something that you can do on your own with the customers, or you don't have to. Now it's going to calculate for me when the contract ends and when the notice of cancellation is. Now I hit Save and Next to go to the next page. But before that, if I want to, I can come over here. I can add this to the technician's Google Calendar, or I can send the text message to the technician, or both, depending on the checkboxes. So if I clicked Execute right now, it would put this event on Rick James' calendar, and it would send a text message to him telling him all the information he needs for the install. Next page is the billing information. I can select either invoice, ACH, or credit card. If I select credit card, it's going to show me the credit card information for the customer. If I select ACH, then it's going to select all this stuff for me to put in their banking information. So let's go in here and let's put in some banking information. Now that I've put in the banking information, I can go ahead and hit Save to save that information. But first I want to make sure I put that it's checking, that it's a personal bank account or business. And then let's put in the RMR. Let's say that this was $49.99 a month, and we're billing on the first day of the month, monthly. So when I hit Save, it puts the bank information in here with just X's so that you know that there's bank information in there. But then I can erase this. So this is just where you change the bank information. This is where it will display that there is bank information saved in the system. Now I can go ahead and go to the next tab. I can hit Save and Next, or I can just click on here. Now this is where I do the emergency contact list. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some emergency contacts. Now that I've put in the emergency contacts, I can just hit save or save and next. Everything's put in here. That's a very simple page. Now equipment info page. This is where I put panel type. Let's say this was a 2 gig Go control panel. Monitor type. Let's say that we did alarm.com commercial basic interactive. Or no, let's just do commercial. Let's just do alarm.com basic interactive. Then I want to save the information so that I can assign it a CSID. And when I click assign CSID, it's going to take the next one in the pool. I have to set this up under the setup menu. It's going to take the next one in the pool and it's going to assign it. So watch what happens. There we have it. Monitoring CSID AZ0002, and it put in the receiver phone number as well. Now I can put in the serial number for the cell unit. And then I'm going to click modify add-ons. If there are any add-ons that I want to add, this is where I do it. Let's say that we're doing Z-Wave lights, locks, and thermostats. Then when I click save, it puts those in here and it saves the account. So now I'm ready to click create in alarm.com. When I click create in ADC, watch what happens over here in this field. And there you have it. It has put in the alarm.com customer ID. So now the account is registered with alarm.com and it's ready for install. I'm going to go ahead and hit save and next. Now this is where I'm going to do some inventory tracking on the equipment list page. Let's say that since this was Rick James was the technician, we're going to use Rick's car for the inventory location. Now what he has available, he has 5 2 gig panels, so we're going to install one of those. We're going to install a 2 gig thermostat and a medical pennant and a carbon. But let's say that there was other information in here that we didn't have. This just shows what's on stock. Let's say that I haven't done the inventory correctly, so I need to do display in stock items only. I'm going to uncheck that, so it's going to show me all of the 2 gig stuff, because it also filters it down by brand. So it's only showing 2 gig information right now. So let's say that we had to put in a cell unit for 2 gig, AT&T. Let's say that we had to do the panel. Oh, it's going to make me start over. And let's say we did a key fob and 2 medical pennants. So then I can hit save. And now it has moved that information out of the available and moved it into the new quantity, into the current quantity as well. So it tracks your inventory. It takes it out of the available from the technician and puts it into the customer's inventory. Now let's say that I also had a Honeywell motion detector that I wanted to install. As you know, a Honeywell motion detector will work on a 2 gig panel. So because it's filtered it out and it's only showing 2 gig information, I'll need to click more brands, and I'll need to tell it I'm also installing a Honeywell sensor. So if I click save, now it's going to show the Honeywell stuff. Let's find the Honeywell motion. There it is right there. So I wanted to install a Honeywell motion as well. Save. Oh, whoops, I have to select the inventory location first. Rick's car. There it is, Honeywell motion. And save. Info updated. And there we have it. We've done our inventory tracking. Ready to go to the next page, which is zones. Now, with other CRMs on the zones, you may have to type in each zone manually and then refresh between each time, because you've got to add the next zone, add the next zone. Our system's a little bit more intelligent than other CRMs. It knows that since this is a 2 gig, and the 2 gig is capable of taking 60 sensors, then it spits out 60 zones for you. You don't have to refresh between each one. So I can just go ahead and type in my zone list. Or if I've activated the alarm.com account through One Stop Portal and it's saved the alarm.com customer ID, I can just click get zones and watch what happens. There you go. As you can see, I clicked get zones and it went and connected to the control panel, got the zone list, and just populated it in for me, saving me a lot of data entry. Now, if I'm done with the installation, I can also click request activation, and I can request activation with Central Station. It'll send an email over to the Central Station saying please activate the account, and then they'll get the email, they'll activate the account for you. But before we do that, after clicking save, you'll notice that it brings up not verified. That's because this is not a real install. and so I haven't actually sent the zones yet. If I had sent the alarm signals and they were received at Central Station, it would say in green letters, verified. But since I haven't sent any zones on this, it says not verified. So if some of them say verified and some say not verified, then you still have some zone sending to do. So there's two places where you can check alarm history. There's right here, or you can go to the Signals tab. And from here, I can click Display, and it will show me the entire displaying the history of the account. But there was nothing to display on this account because it wasn't a real install. The other thing I can do from this tab is I can place the account in test for, let's say, 60 minutes. And when I click Execute, it would place the account in test for 60 minutes. And that's basically how you set up a customer. You don't need the DocuSign tab because we don't use DocuSign for security equity partners. They'll accept DocuSign, but with One Stop Portal, we have our own built-in e-signature. Let me show you how that works. So I go back to the customers page, search for customer. There it is, Walter White. And I'm going to come over here to where it has this red X. Under the signature column, you'll see that some of them have a green check mark and some have a red X. Red X means the e-signature has not been signed yet. Green check mark means it has been signed. So I'm going to click on the red X, and it brings it up here, and it tells me, oh, looks like this is not ready for e-signature because I never put in the verbal password. So I'm going to go there right now, and I'm going to put in the verbal password. Let's say Lucky. I don't know, Lucky's fine. Also, I forgot to put in the email, so I would put in Walter White. Just put in some fake one. Hit save. And now, if I go back to customers, search, and click on the red X, now everything says ready to go. So I'm going to click on this second tab, which is the contract. And the first thing it wants me to do is have the sales rep sign. So the sales rep is Tyrone Biggums. And then I hand the tablet over to the customer. The customer reads through some of the contract, keep reading. Then now it's time for the customer to sign. So the customer signs right here. And then he reads some more. And then he signs again. And then he scrolls down to the bottom, reads the rest of the contract, and he clicks Finish. Now, upon clicking Finish, it's going to create the envelope, and it's going to email it to all the recipients. It's going to email a copy to the sales rep. It's going to email a copy to the customer. It's going to email a copy to the company owner, or the dealer, and then it's going to email a copy over to security equity partners so that they get their copy. And then let me show you how that would look. So here's the email with the contract. I open it up here, and it says, there it is, the whole contract with all the information that we put in with the signatures. Has everything placed in its spots, another signature, and that's how that looks. On the email, it also says, the attached contract between Walter White of Logan and Demo Dealer was completed and electronically signed on this date on a device at this IP address. So kind of like DocuSign, it gives you the IP address, the timestamp, and who it was that signed. And so that's how we set up a new customer for security equity partners using One Stop Portal.